Welcome back, and this video has been sponsored by the biggest edger of them all. Mr. Edge has donated me $130 to fly out this absolute shitboat after the F-4F we did yesterday. So thank you very much for the donation, but you can go to hell because, well, you made me fly this thing. I'm very much upset that that shot right there didn't kill, because that's probably one of the furthest shots I've ever hit. Now, the F-4C is an absolute boat. It doesn't maneuver very well, it doesn't have countermeasures, it doesn't have particularly good missiles. The AIM-9Es are mid, the AIM-7Ds are incredibly mid, and the fact that you have to use rocket pods as flares makes this plane even heavier than it already is. On top of that, you have to run the Gunpod if you want to have a gun, and you do kind of need it, because the missiles are definitely not up to par. And we are at 10.7 with the new battle rating changes, which is absolutely laughable. Because, well, we have the F-4F at the same BR, which also doesn't have flares. The F-4F early, that is. It has AIM-9Js, it has Agile Eagle, and it's a hell of a lot faster. This plane is definitely a massive struggle bus. However, I still think that the F-4F and the B-57B are definitely worse than this thing, because you still have some options, and even though you might have no performance whatsoever, it still has some kind of weapon systems, so you are able to get some kills. People aren't really paying attention. I'm not gonna say that this thing is enjoyable to fly whatsoever, but I had a pretty okay time in it. Now we have this J-35XS on our ass, and he doesn't have missiles for some reason, and I'm sure that if he's able to pay me $130 to pay this thing, he's also paying some paid actors for me. Because this guy is not feeling too good right now. He just missed all his shots. We are gonna dodge his shots a little bit more, and he's gonna start spraying at us. And he's trying to really convince us that this guy is actually a sentient player. But instead, he just kind of misses all his rounds, and then guess what? He gets reversed. Yeah, that's what we're gonna call it. And we kill him. J-35XS gets reversed by the F-4C. You've seen it here first, people. Thank you, Edge, for paying this guy off to give the kill to me. Now, I should have died there, especially if he had any type of missiles. If he had 6 AIM-9Js, I don't have enough countermeasures to actually defeat them. Now, I'm running 2 rocket pods completely filled with Zunis. Now, I'm running them on the wingtips, and on this instance right here, this is my first game or my second game. So I'm still running one of them, but the asymmetrical weight kind of fucks you over, so I decided to just go with both of them. I tried a few different setups. I tried the wingtip gunpods with one centerline rocket tray. I tried the bullpups, like you can see right here, on the missile pylons to act as flares as well, or maybe strafe someone on the runway. But they are extremely heavy, and you can only use them once, so I decided to kind of just get rid of them. At this point, I also don't have the AIM-7Ds yet, and I'm going to decide to actually equip them in the game after this. I only run 2 because they are borderline useless, and the fact that I just missed that F-104 and that absolutely piss easy shot is gonna cost me the game. Now I also still have the decal on the bottom of my wing, which we shouldn't want, but you know, what can you do about it? We got some kills, we got some damage in, and now the game is kind of stabilizing. The game is starting to turn into that slower, smaller lobby, which is going to make it a lot harder for us to actually do anything, because if people know that you're there, you're really not going to get much done. The F-104A is better than this plane in Air RB, and for some reason I can't even see it in a full down tier. The F-104 actually will win the dogfight versus this thing, mainly because the F-104 actually has a shitload of power and pulls quite well at high speed, and then at low speed it has so much thrust that it's able to just kind of keep pulling forever. Now if you're wondering why I sometimes randomly shoot rockets, sometimes I'm pre-flaring, and sometimes I'm just fat fingering, because I have like 3 weapon groups and I'm not very much used to that. We try to spiral up the F-104. I'm gonna try to like set him up so he overshoots us. Unfortunately, he's just gonna break off and run away. And that is really going to be all she wrote. Now I'm gonna try to get a missile off. The missile is simply going to go into a direction where my plane isn't even pointing, but it doesn't really matter because he is not in range anyway. The AIM-9Es are not very good, but you can use them in instances like this, where you kind of just rock up behind people and you just start rippling these things off. They're still not very reliable. When you rock up behind people, you can just start slinging these things off left, right and center and try to see if you can get maybe a free kill in. You just have to look for people that are flying straight, that are aiming at someone else, and then you might get some free kills. Now we shoot a missile at the ADTW, he flies straight, he's gonna collect it. We then switch on over to the SMT that also doesn't see us, we severe him. And now we just need to make sure what we do here is we kind of climb to the side and we try to just drop in the side and behind people. Now this does work somewhat okay-ish. The issue is if someone actually does notice you and they start focusing you, that's a very big likelihood that you're simply going to die. Now we shoot the first missile off, but he flares the instant I shoot. So we stand off the second one and he flares it too. I thought that the first one was accidental, so I thought he wasn't looking at us. He gets absolutely disintegrated, but the MF is gonna be turning directly in front of us and he's flaring us. But yeah, you're not gonna flare this gun, buddy. So we are just gonna full send it after him. And because he is so occupied with trying to turn into everyone here, he completed like 2 turns at a time, we completed 1, but he reverses his turn and gives me the freest shot of the world. MF goes down and we fly back towards the middle of the map. And we do this by, well, pointing the plane at the middle of the map and pressing the web key. It is that free. Now we shoot the missile in the head on here, or at least we try to, but I'm not able to get a lock up until like 2 kilometers, so I'm just gonna hold the trigger down, we're gonna get some hits in. You see the absolute line of hits on that plane. Doesn't crit him, however, so he's just gonna keep on flying, and we switch on targets to the SMT that's going 12 kilometers an hour in the middle of the map. Now he's just absolutely drifting through the air. We take his plane apart, we pre-flare the missile that's behind us, but it's not actually going for us, which is fantastic. Then we hold the trigger down again for an MF or an SMT that's also going 12 kilometers an hour in the middle of the map, and that is going to be kill number 3. Now, what are we gonna do from this point out? Now, I don't really want to tangle with all those bozos in the middle. The MiG-21s are all going to be very dangerous, so instead I'm going to go for the F-4F. Now the F-4F here has flares, and he has something else as well, and that is called Agile Eagle. So this is going to be a very rough fight. There's also a very big likelihood that he is carrying less fuel than me, because I run about 23 minutes on takeoff, and a lot of people, they run less than that. So we get on the 6, the sun is of course going to be in the way as per usual, so we lock him up, and I'm going to try to shoot an AIM-7D at him. And yeah, it does absolutely nothing because it doesn't pull whatsoever. And Mr. Top Satan here is just gonna kind of drag me away. Now, I'm on the 6, so you would say that I have a pretty solid opportunity to kill him here. The issue is that we are at medium to high altitude. This plane doesn't pull whatsoever. And you can tell there, I get the shot once, and once he passes the nose and he rolls a bit around, there's nothing I can do. So I'm gonna try to stay outside of his gun. I'm not trying to get the shot here. I'm simply trying to stall him out. I'm trying to conserve energy. Then we drop the flaps. And we should be able to stall directly on top of him. Now, if he tries to just turn underneath us, I should be able to get a shot. The issue is that he doesn't do that. And instead, he just kind of dives to the ground and picks up his speed again, which is bad for us. So we line up the missile. We shoot. Look at that missile. It just goes to the right for some reason. And it never pulls in. It might have actually been able to kill him if he was just... if the missile actually went where I was pointing it. But that's besides the point. He starts pitching up again. And I need to be slower than him to stay behind him. We miss our shot again. And that's the only shot I am going to get. Unless he starts turning back in. Now, he actually reverses his turn here. And he goes into a scissor. I am not able to run away anymore. I drop my flare. So I am very much committed. And I'm going to put this into a bit of a corkscrew. I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to go underneath him. I am air braking and I want him to try and get underneath me. Because if he does that, he slams it right into the ground. Thank you very much for playing the game. And that is going to be game for him. Now we hit him up with the nice one. And then I didn't record it, but you can see it in the kill feed. The Su-25 just killed the F5 in the head-on with an R60. So he might still have one left. And I'm pretty confident that he does. So instead of just going full tilt into him and betting on the fact that he's out because it's kind of late into the game, I'm just going to bait a missile out by like pretending to turn into him and getting him relatively close. There we go. It's about 2 kilometers. They like to shoot there. You can see that I'm already preemptively turning out. There is the missile. And we turn out. That never tracks us, and we are free now. He is out of missiles, and I don't have countermeasures, so I needed to do that. Now, of course, if they play it smart and just don't shoot it, yeah, you're gonna have a little bit of an issue. But the Su-25 is now going to engage the A-10, but he actually turns around for us to go head on. So we are gonna shoot a little bit at him. I'm not gonna kill myself in the head on with him, so I dodge. We go straight vertical, and I know I can win now, because he doesn't have any missiles left. Now, that he does the smart thing and turns in front of the A-10. So we hammerhead him, we basically have him energy trapped. If he pitches up for us, the A-10 kills him. If he turns for the A-10, then I kill him. But instead, he just slams it into the ground. And, I mean, every game is kind of the same thing in this thing. You have some differences where sometimes you might get 4 kills, sometimes you get 5 kills, and then you die 4 games in a row without getting any kills. Because that's honestly the name of this plane. You can't really do much, you don't have any presence at long range, you're very bad at close range. there's very little redeeming about this thing, but I still think that it's going to be better than something like the F-84F and the B-57B, just for the reason that it actually is aimable, even though it doesn't pull much, and it actually has some missiles, like the 4 AIM-9Es at least give you some kills. And I want to address some things that people said yesterday. They were all like trying to bring up planes that were worse than the F-84 and the B-57, and I was getting things like the F-3H, which yes, it's bad, but it has some things it can do better than other planes. The 162, which is incredibly good at like 6.3. You have the Mystere 4A, which yeah, it's not exactly very good, but it's still somewhat maneuverable and it can kill people that are bad at the game. When you are playing the B-57, it doesn't matter how bad your enemy is, you're still probably going to lose. And with something like a Mystere or an F-3H or basically all the planes listed, the J-29 for example, it's going to be kind of okay if the enemy is bad. You can still try to do something. There is still a semblance of performance. In this thing too, if people are bad, you might still kill them. If people are bad and you are playing the B-57, you're dead. There's nothing you can do. Now, I'm gonna make a video on the B-57B pretty soon here. And I do think that it's actually worse than the F-84F. But it's in a different manner. The B-57B has more potential in a game. Where like, you have the guns, you have the air spawn, if everything goes right, you might be able to actually clean up 5 people. And I got a lot more aces in the B-57B than I did in the F-84 for that reason, I think. But the F-84F is just a bit more consistent, which makes it, I think, a little bit more flyable. It is still terrible. You're still not gonna kill anyone if they actually have a semblance of a brain. And even if they don't, you are still barely able to kill anyone in it. Now luckily most of the ROV players are absolutely lobotomized and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's just the reason why these planes managed to get some kills. Now this F5C here, look at this big brain tactic. I'm gonna use this building here. So he has to commit 9/11 if he wants to go head on. And we point blank shotgun him with the Vulcan directly in the cockpit. Thank you for kill number 3. And then we go for the high altitude AIM-7D Slammage, where we get 2 kills with 1 missile. And just absolutely dominate the skies with this absolutely fantastic. It's just gonna miss. Look at the burner time. It burns for like 1.5 seconds. It stops accelerating. It's dead in the water. But I thought, well, if I lead it enough, maybe he'll fly directly into it because it's at like 7 kilometers. And we are at high altitude. But no. Both the missiles just go dud, basically. Yes, they are bad launches. It's partially on me. But I'm just trying to tell you that these missiles are absolutely useless. Luckily, we have AIM-9Es. And this is why missiles are so nice. They don't have radar slaving, as you can see. And at 2.7 kilometers, at 9 kilometers of altitude. And he's at almost 11. These missiles have quite a bit of reach. And if you think you're gonna out-energy a missile because you have some gravity on it, at this altitude, you are severely mistaken. Now he catches the AIM-9E, he dies on the spot. And we are now gonna just dive straight back down to the deck. Now Razor has a J7D on him, which is rather scary, but he's running the same kind of loadout as I am, but he's running 4 bullpups instead of the rocket pods, because he likes bullpupping people out of the air. Don't ask, he just likes to do it. The J7D is, well, gonna try to reel him in, but he's slower for now, so I have a feeling that he's going to be very much occupied with trying to catch Razor. So I'm getting a little bit of a better angle here. So the missile actually has the ability to pull in, get a bit closer, get more on his 6. We shoot it off. And that's going to be a super free kill because this guy is just not reacting whatsoever. Meanwhile in the background, Razor is absolutely cleaning house. He's about to get his 4th kill by critting that A5. A5 is going to go and fly straight into a tree. And it's just absolute F4C sweeping. Because this plane is of course the new meta of the new battle rating changes. It is absolutely fantastic. Because there are also planes like other F4Cs you can kill and possibly an F1 that you can kill. Now the A5 on the right is really gonna accomplish, well, borderline 0. He just bombed the base and he's gonna go back to the runway. And he's actually gonna run out of fuel and slam into it. Congratulations, you did it. And I see an F1 go very slow in the middle of the map and he's trying to kill AI or he's trying to kill ground units. I'm not entirely sure what he's trying to do. But he's a prime target right now. He is super slow. He is not really paying attention. And to top it all off, he's about to turn his ass towards me. So I'm gonna prep the AIM-9E, wait for his missile to leave the rail because, well, I don't want my missile to get instantly flared by his missile. We shoot it at him. We actually flare the missile on R6. F1 goes down. We turn around to defend against the F4C. Razor is also here, however. So we just have to make sure we pass his nose once. He's running triple Gunpod. He is way too heavy. So I just kind of pull straight back in. Pull him straight vertical. And now I can just leave. The F4C is not doing very well. Down he goes, and we fly towards the F5 that is chasing our F5. Now we have a teammate of us right next to us. He's like basically straight below us. So I'm just gonna head on this guy. And if he doesn't go for me, I'm just gonna full send it. Now you can tell that he's shooting at someone else on the bottom right. So I'm just holding the trigger down. We absolutely disassemble his plane. And that is going to be kill number 4. Now the A5 comes in. And I really wanted to kill him because I wanted that double ace together with Razor. Unfortunately, it is not meant to be because the A5 is just going to break off, fly away, and then crash into the runway like the absolute bozo he is. And here we have the elusive 5k F4C game just after Razor did his. He actually got crew locked the game after, so he is flying the C2B now like he does with his 14,000 kills in the damn thing. And we are just going to try and farm the middle of the map. Now I see multiple people going very slow here. We have a MiG-23, but he's already pulling into us. So you kind of basically omit him from the list. But then he pulls back out to chase Sniff. So I shoot the missile off. That missile is going to do its thing. And it's going to probably kill the MiG-23. But then the MiG-23 simply turns around. And I am not able to actually capitalize on that. Now we shoot another missile. I thought he was not turning as tightly as he was. So that's another wasted missile. The MiG-23 is in a flat spin over there. We get some shots on the F5. We get a crit in. He's not actually dead, but I'm just going to ignore him. I'm going to be turning around. The MiG-23 next to us manages to crash. It's an ML, by the way. You can see that in the F4C nowadays, which is absolutely incredible. These battle rating changes are fantastic. And then here we have it. The first ever AIM 7D kill. Now, all we need to do is lock this J35 XS up because he doesn't have RWR. I said lock him up. Thank you. And look at the speed of this missile. It looks like a fucking Zuni, dude. But it doesn't matter because it splashes him. And we got an AIM 7D kill. Now it doesn't matter that I could have finished him or just killed him with the gun outright. That's an AIM 7D kill. I don't want to hear it. It is an absolute unicorn of an achievement. Because I'm quite sure that AIM 7Ds have less air-to-air kills than the Zunis do. Because, well, the AIM 7Ds are just absolutely terrible. Now, I could have gone for the J35, but he's way too fast. So I just kind of fly into the middle. I'll see whatever ends up in front of me. And the tornado is going to be a prime target. Now, if he's not going to be flaring, this guy is absolutely dead. So I lead the missile to the left. I thought he was going to go for the turnaround, but he just flies straight. He doesn't flare because he's looking at the A6E. Thank you for being a premium player. That is going to be kill number 3. And then we start running down the F5C and the Jaguar. Now, the Jaguar is having fun with Razor in the C2B. And as Razor does, he is just going to absolutely slam the dude out of the air. Any second now. I'm waiting for that Jaguar to simply die. There he goes. And now we are going to start chasing the F5. Now the F5 is a plane that I don't really want to fight. And he's actually turning around for us because he notices me, which is a little bit unlucky. So we try to get a shot in there, but not enough lead. And we just kind of straight pull after him. I know I have a reliable teammate coming in, so I just kind of go vertical. I start diving away here after pulling him into the turn. And I just tell Razor to clap this dude because I need this man out of the game. Now here he comes, goes head on, misses unfortunately, but we are going to keep this guy kind of occupied, so we are going to just turn back in. Luckily, the F5 just goes up with Razor and you don't want to do that, and he gets his plane taken apart. Now unfortunately, it was only a crit, which means that it's of course going to get stolen by a missile. Very much unfortunate. Now we lock onto the J35, and I thought, what are you doing? Of course, I'm not going to shoot this missile. I'm just going to keep this locked to see if he wants to turn in. And if he does, I'm going to shoot it. Then he gets too close, so I switched on the AIM 9E. But I think, well, this is a prime opportunity to get that sick-ass second AIM 7D kill. And because I only carry 2, this is going to be a 100% hit rate. There we go. Another AIM 7D kill in the same game. Now, how often can you say that you got 2 AIM 7D kills in the same match? That's going to be kill number 4. And then we managed to find him. The actual worst plane at this BR. The F111 Aardvark. Now, it's absolutely terrible, but at least it's fast enough to run. And at least it has a good bomb load, right? Yeah, I'm not really looking forward to flying that one. And I'm probably not gonna do that anytime soon. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Edge, for edging me. And you'll see me all in the next one.